पब्लिकेशंस हो रहा है, यू सेंड योर पब्लिकेशंस टू दिस। ठीक है, तो आप लोग थोड़ा सा कॉशियस रहिए while choosing a particular journal, and also sending your abstract for a symposium also, conference also। आपको काफी अट्रैक्टिव लगेगा। एंड में आप बोलेंगे कि आप $1000 दे दीजिए रजिस्ट्रेशन फीस, ये वो मिला के, तो एंड में आपका पैसा भी चला जाएगा, वहां पे आप पहुंच भी नहीं पाओगे एंड में। तो ऐसा भी होता है आजकल, वेरी कॉमन दिस आर थिंग्स। स्पीकर भी तो है ना, मुझे तो स्पीकर, आपको लोगों की आता रहता है ना। हाँ, आप अभी तो फिर भी आपका पब्लिकेशंस वगैरह जब आने लगेगा ना, तो आपका एक पब्लिकेशंस के बेसिस पे आपको 100 चीजें इनविटेशन आ जाएगा। तो वही मैं, इसलिए मैं जस्ट सोचा कि इसको डिलीट नहीं करता हूँ, आपको थोड़ा सा शेयर करके दिखा देता हूँ। ये देखिए, ये भी और एक कहीं पे आया है शायद। ये है 11th एडिशन ऑफ वर्ल्ड नैनो टेक्नोलॉजी कॉन्फ्रेंस एट सिंगापुर। तो जगह देख के काफी लगेगा कि हाँ हाँ ठीक है, स्टूडेंट को भेजना चाहिए, तो फिर बट यू फर्स्ट चेक द थिंग्स वेरी केयरफुली बिफोर सेंडिंग योर एनी थिंग, एनी रिसर्च वर्क फॉर पब्लिकेशंस। ठीक है, थैंक यू। Good afternoon, all of you. Welcome to the 6th class. And in the previous class, where मैं नॉर्मली क्या करता हूँ, प्रीवियस क्लास का जो थोड़ा सा इसको रखता हूँ, ताकि थोड़ा सा हम डिस्कस भी करके आगे करके होंगे, और किसी को अगर कुछ डाउट होगा तो आप लोग भी पूछ सकते हो। ठीक है, so in the previous classes we have discussed about publication ethics as well as research ethics. So these are the various points which we have discussed. Then we have discussed about ethics in research. So what are the key principles, what are the stages of research in which every stage we have to take care, and also common types of scientific misconduct which happened yesterday we have discussed, and why the normal researcher do such mistakes, that also we have discussed. Normally for little shortcut and for time constant and for those things, people do this type of misconduct. And also we have discussed few case studies, 12 case studies we have seen, and it's a various types of research in which some misconduct has been happened. Okay, so we should keep in mind that we'll try our best to avoid those things. Okay, so today I'll be discussing about presentation of research work and report writing, because whenever you do any research, you have to tell the outcome to the society. Okay, so presentation and report writings are quite important. जैसा मेरे पास इनविटेशन आया है जर्नल पब्लिकेशंस के लिए, और नहीं तो ओरल प्रेजेंटेशन और इनवाइटेड टॉक के लिए, सो आई हैव टू टेल द थिंग कम्युनिटी टू अबाउट माय रिसर्च वर्क, इसलिए इनविटेशंस आते हैं। अगर प्रॉपर कोई भी हो सकता है जहाँ पे मुझे लगता है होगा कि आई शुड गो एंड प्रेजेंट माय वर्क, so my work will be critically observed also, and if it is a really good work, it will be appreciated. Everyone needs some appreciation also. Okay, so why should a researcher report his findings? तो ये तो लिखा तो है, जस्ट आप लोग कोई बताएगा हमको रिपोर्ट क्यों हमको करना चाहिए, प्रेजेंटेशन क्यों करना चाहिए? रिसर्च वर्क करेंगे, after that we have to publish, or we have to write the thesis, or we have to present in some conferences. तो ऐसा क्यों करेंगे? बिल्कुल, वेरी गुड। बिल्कुल, वेरी गुड, वेरी नाइस। और कोई? यस, वेरी गुड। कंटिन्यूटी एज वेल एज गैप एरियाज। अगर आप में कुछ गैप एरियाज है तो वहीं से आइडिया लेके सम अदर पर्सन कैन ऑल्सो स्टार्ट देयर वर्क। ठीक है, और सबसे सिंपल अप्रिसिएशन, तालियां बजती है। अच्छा लगता है। हाँ, और अगर आपका पब्लिकेशंस कुछ अच्छा जर्नल इम्पैक्ट फैक्ट, जैसे मेरे एक स्टूडेंट का, एक मेरा स्टूडेंट मीन्स मेरा नहीं है, मैंने एक कॉन्फ्रेंस में ऐसा होके, तो मेरा स्टूडेंट तेरे में बोलता हूँ, तो उसका एक 50 इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर जर्नल में पब्लिकेशन जब हुआ था, तो आई ऑल्सो फील प्राउड कि मैंने कभी तो उसको पढ़ाया है। 50. It's a review article, but still then he and his mentor got the invitation, and finally they, after 2.5 years of real struggle, he could publish in that 50 impact factor journal. So his name is Manvendra. He was doing, I think, in Delhi JNU. So he was one of our participant in one of our workshops. So for 1 week, I was there with him. So I understood his things little bit. So when he got a 50 impact factor, I also feel good. He must have felt so good, na? So like that. So we get happy by getting some appreciation. Okay. So ये सब होता है, और भी कुछ काफी सारा reasons रहेगा. So here I have listed things. Every research investigation is carried out with certain objectives. Whenever we go for a work, there is some motto. And after the research work, whether we have achieved it or we have failed in that particular work, we have to present to the public, so that the other person should not go if it is a wrong way. If right way, they will understand that this way we can learn, and if some shortcomings or some limitations are there, they can go on working in that area also. Okay. Sometimes the researcher may not be aware of the theoretical development on practical application. If somebody is working on the practical application, he or she may not be aware of the theoretical interpretation, because if he is presenting the work in some conference in that field, lot of means ideas he or she can get. So that's why discussions are very much important during presentation. Presentation normally will be very short. So during poster presentation, lot of discussions happens. Okay. And if somebody is in your field, you can go and talk to the person also about your work. So there is a communications will be there. So his or her research may be useful to another research problem, because when you attend some conferences and present your work, your idea will lead to some other person's new ideas also. That's why presenting your work in the form of presentation as well as form of publications, all are important. Some other researcher may be working or planning to work on the same or similar type of research work. Several researchers doing same research work is a waste of time unless the solution of the problem is needed very urgently and it is of great use. Like some vaccine is some pandemic has come and the vaccine has to be there. So a lot of people has to work on that particular subject. But if it is a normal type of work, two persons need not work in the same field. So while going and presenting the work, others will also know that, okay, I am going to work on this particular field, but somebody has already done an extensive work. So my work I can little modify or change. Okay, so that idea also you can get while presenting. So your presentation will lead to their benefit. So repetition of work is should be avoided by research community as much as possible. So we should not do a repetition of work. If somebody is doing, okay, we can modify in a different direction. So unless a researcher reports his work to the world, the correctness, validity, and originality of the work is under a question mark. Because I feel that my work is very original and very important, but it should be accepted to the audience. Okay, so that's why presenting the work is very much important. The outcome of a research work will become a known scientific community through your publications. A piece of research not published is as good as not carried out. So people say that if you are not publishing, then your work is almost considered as you have not worked in that manner. That's why many universities, like in our HBNI, we have mandated some number of publications in your research output. Okay, it's not that you have not worked. You have really might be working for 3 years or 4 years continuously, but if you are not publishing, so your work is not validated. So in that, that's why for chemistry they have put, I think, 3 publications, and for biology I think 1 publications. Physics I do not remember how much. Do somebody have any idea? कितना होना चाहिए? और engineering I think 2 and 1 communicated, है ना? हाँ. So in the view of above, it is important to report our work. कुछ बोलना है? बायो में एक ही है एक्चुअली. क्या होता है कि बायो में मैंने जितना बहुत टाइम लगता है, क्योंकि जैसे अगर एक पर्टिकुलर क्रॉप पे अगर आप काम कर रहे हो, उसको एक सीजन तो लग जाता है उसको बढ़ने के लिए. तो नेक्स्ट सीजन में ही आप उसके ऊपर स्टडी कर पाओगे। तो इसीलिए वो सब कंसिडर करके दे हैव ऑप्टिमाइज द नंबर ऑफ पब्लिकेशंस। और वहाँ पे पब्लिकेशंस भी किसी किसी का थोड़ा कम होता है। केमिस्ट्री में थोड़ा सा नंबर किसी किसी का तो बहुत होता है, 40-50 भी हो गया है। जेआरएफ से आपने सुना रहेगा। आपके जैसा 2 बैच पहले के स्टूडेंट का उसका 40 पब्लिकेशंस हो गया है अभी। तो हो जाता है, पर हमारे यहाँ पे मुश्किल होता है कभी कभी। तो ठीक है। So it is important to report our work in an appropriate journal. एक साल में नहीं, 4-3, दैट्स के एवरेज। एक्चुअली क्या होता है ना, कभी कभी हम ग्रुप में काम करते हैं, तो फर्स्ट ऑथर में कितना होगा मुझे पता नहीं, पर अगर दैट पीएचडी स्कॉलर हैज जॉइंड इन अ पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप व्हिच इज वेरी प्रोडक्टिव, सो दे विल कंबाइन टुगेदर, एंड कुछ इसके नाम पे आएगा, कुछ उसके नाम पे आएगा, कुछ किसके, ऐसा करके कभी कभी हो जाता है। तो बट हमारे यहाँ पे बहुत डिफिकल्ट होता है, हमने हमारा तो एक एक पब्लिकेशन के लिए हमको एटलीस्ट 6-7 महीना लगता है। ठीक है। So it is important to report work in proper journal or present in proper symposia। जैसा मेरे पास 3-4 ईमेल आज आ गया है, मैं अपना एब्स्ट्रैक्ट अगर कहीं पे भेजूं और कहीं पे भी जर्नल में भेजूं, दैट इज नॉट गुड, बिकॉज yesterday we had discussed that there are spurious journals are now coming, so they may just extract money from you, or there are many that type of symposium, everything you will see that site, it will look like a proper symposium. So they will tell that register by depositing 5,000 rupees. We'll communicate. You will deposit the money afterwards. 1 month, everything will be closed. So be careful about where you are going to present your work. If it is a authentic one, it's fine. Then try to avoid, because many persons, some scams are going on nowadays. So better to avoid these things. हाँ हाँ। हम्म, बिल्कुल होता है, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल होता है। सो इसीलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना कि आप कहाँ पे अपना काम भेज रहे हो, यू शुड बी वेरी केयरफुल, बिकॉज आप इतना मेहनत करते हो, यू वर्क सो हार्ड, एंड योर वर्क विल बी टेकन अप बाय समबडी, लाइक यस्टरडे हमने जैसा देखा था रिव्यूअर के में, उन्होंने होल्ड करके रखा दिया था। यहाँ पे क्या हो गया कि उन्होंने सिंपोजियम टाइप का वर्कशॉप वगैरह ऑर्गेनाइज करके आपसे आइडिया चुरा रहे हैं। सो दिस टाइप ऑफ थिंग्स आर ऑल्सो हैपनिंग नाउ डेज। So you have to be careful and send to only to the workshops or symposium which are authentic. आपको मिल जाएगा, मीन्स साइट से वगैरह, आपको धीरे धीरे एक्सपीरियंस कोई पर्सन के साथ आप बात करेंगे तो पता चलेगा कि यहाँ पे मुझे भेजना चाहिए या यहाँ पे मुझे भेजना नहीं चाहिए। तो मैं, मेरे पास जब कभी कभी मुझे जो लगता है सही है, मैं अपने 2-3 कलीग्स को भेजता हूँ कि आप लोग भी थोड़ा सा चेक करो कि रियल ऐसा कुछ हो रहा है कि नहीं हो रहा है। और बहुत अननोन जगह पे थोड़ा सा ज्यादा ही कॉशियस रहो। ठीक है। जैसे बीआरसी अगर वेल नोन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, यहाँ पे सीएसआर लैब्स है, तो वहाँ पे दोज आर वेरी वेल नोन। अगर जेएनयू में कुछ कॉन्फ्रेंस हो रहा है, तो जेएनयू से आप किसी के साथ भी उसका फाइंड आउट कर सकते हैं, इट इज ऑथेंटिक और नॉट। तो ऐसा होगा कि अलग अलग इंस्टीट्यूट, मेनी इंस्टीट्यूट्स आर द ऑर्गेनाइजिंग, so you can find out the authenticity, then only you send, otherwise don't send. My personal request. And so identify possible publications of your research findings after making a considerable progress on a research problem. Whenever you are working on a research program also, you, after certain work, you just feel that you try to consider that where I have to publish. So what is my aim, in where are the areas, what are the journals in which I'll be sending, or where I should conference I should attend. So those things you start learning also along with that. So don't be confined with a mere PhD degree. So along with also publications and presentations are equally important. So I'll start with oral presentation. So oral, आप सबने oral presentation कभी ना कभी तो किया रहेगा ना? सब लोगों ने किया, किसी ने नहीं किया है? कभी oral presentation नहीं किया है? कोई है? ड्यूरिंग योर एमएससी सब लोगों ने कुछ प्रोजेक्ट प्रेजेंटेशन वगैरह किया रहेगा ना? किया रहेगा ना? हाँ। तो एक्चुअली मैंने एमएससी के टाइम में सिर्फ एक ही प्रेजेंटेशन किया था, तो इसीलिए मेरा ज़्यादा एक्सपीरियंस नहीं था व्हेन आई केम टू बीआरसी। तो आप लोगों का मेरे ख्याल से ज़्यादा ही रहेगा एक्सपीरियंस। तो मैं जो बता रहा हूँ ये सब आपको पता रहेगा पहले से, बट स्टिल देन आई जस्ट ट्राई टू ब्रश अप द थिंग्स। ओके, सो प्रिपेयरिंग an oral report or oral presentation. So whenever we are doing, I told that we have to present to the audience also. And along with the journal publications, we require conference presentation also. In our JRF chemistry fraternity, we mandate that along with 3 publications in journals, 2 symposium publications is also mandatory. So the student not only write the things, they should also present the things. Annual report also they present, but to an unknown audience also they should present, so that that fear will go, and different persons will be there, so different ideas can be exchanged. So that is very important, we feel. So before going for the actual presentation, before starting the preparation for an oral report or a presentation, an outline of that presentation should be drawn, and the time duration of the report should be kept in mind. This is very important. So if I have given a time slot of 10 minutes, I should not present the work for 30 minutes, because the organization who will be organizing that, they have allotted me for 10 minutes. If I am presenting for 30 minutes, other persons also get hampered and the whole schedule get hampered. Sometimes people do this. So sometimes the chairman of that committee, they stop in between. So what will happen? So if for 30 minutes presentation, what will happen? In that first 10 minutes, you will be only telling about the introduction. You will not telling about the your work and what is the findings. So there is no meaning. So it will not be, you will not be able to convey what you wanted to convey in that particular forum. Okay, that's why timing is very much important. So डिपार्टमेंटल सेमिनार इज यूजुअली 45 मिनट्स. आपका जैसा एनुअल रिपोर्ट वगैरह होता है तो ये 45 मिनट्स टू 1 आवर भी कभी कभी होता है, ये तो 30 मिनट्स होता है. So but they give how much time is the time period is you are given, so that is you will be knowing in beforehand. In other meetings, the time direction is fixed by the organizers normally, depending upon the number of speakers and the status of the speaker. Sometimes when we are inviting some elder persons or the senior scientists, normally we give 45 minutes to 1 hour for their presentation. For normal student presentation, we give 8 plus 2 minutes. 8 minutes presentation, 2 minutes discussion. That is the common format nowadays. Okay, so you have done work for nearly 6 months for that work, and you have to present in 8 minutes time. This is not very sufficient, but you have given 8 minutes means you have to finish within 7.59 seconds. So if you are going beyond that, there will be possibility of negative marking. So they give some hours also, but you are given 8 minutes. Don't finish your presentation in 4 minutes. That also give a negative, that you are so quick and so crisp in telling, but you may not have conveyed all the things. You have given 4 minutes extra, so utilize the time. So in the beginning, no, I also prepare. Well, whenever I have given a time slot, I normally prepare and go that I'll be, and in between also I see. अभी भी आपने देखा रहेगा मैं 2-3 बार घड़ी देखता हूँ. So if I have given a time, I have to stick to the time. Okay. So here I have mentioned 3 categories of presentation. First is the long time presentation, like annual report or your divisional seminar, or if you are given 45 minutes to 60 minutes, like invited talk normally people get for 45 minutes to 60 minutes. So then you have quite enough time for the whole thing, research work to present it. So you have enough time to introduce the topic, discuss the definition of the problem, what is the objective of that problem, describe the methods and techniques, whatever you have utilized during your research, give the technical details, and present the results and conclusions, and consequently these aspects can be prepared in detail. So every aspects you can cover, and you can emphasize more on your results and result output. Objective and result output, these are the main things which will be interesting for the others, because if you are telling lot of things about introduction, others may get bored during the presentation. ठीक है, तो इसीलिए whenever आप जब presentation वगैरह आप prepare करोगे, तो आपका क्यों कर रहे हो उसको थोड़ा अच्छे से clearly आपको वो convey करना है, और आपको क्या मिला है ये भी आपको अच्छे से बोलना है. तो क्या क्या मैं थोड़ा सा next slides में भी बोलूंगा. And if you have given 15 to 30 minutes oral presentation, one cannot find enough time to discuss the complete work. पूरा काम को 30 minutes में हम नहीं कर पाएंगे. So certain things we have to omit. So what are the things we can omit? In this case, less informative materials must be dropped. Methods, techniques used can be presented very briefly. और अगर आपका लॉन्ग प्रेजेंटेशन है तो आपका सारे टेक्निक्स मेथोडोलॉजी जो जो यूज किया है आपके काफी एलेबोरेटली बोल सकते हैं। यहाँ पे आपको जस्ट बोलना है कि आई हैव यूज दिस पर्टिकुलर टेक्निक फॉर कैरेक्टराइजेशन। बहुत ज्यादा एक्सप्लेन करने की जरूरत नहीं, क्योंकि उसके बारे में उनको आइडियाज रहेगा जो ऑडियंस रहेंगे, ठीक है। Much time should be reserved for results, conclusions, and further directions. Little future direction also sometimes it is required. So mostly in your presentations, results discussion, that part you should focus. So tables, figures, and some pie chart, all this type of things, it is visually appealing. So you will be speaking as well as something will be visible in the slide. So both the things are required there. So you emphasize more on that output type of thing during your presentation, so that the audience will be really interested in your work, because they have sitting there, they are sitting there to listen your work. They don't want to learn it's not a lecture room, it's not a lecture type of thing. So your research output means it's a new findings. Okay, so you give emphasis on the research output or the results and discussion part more. And similarly, if you are getting a time slot of 8 to 10 minutes oral presentation, there is no time to discuss complete details of the work. Giving detailed introduction, introduction should be very precise, maximum 2 minutes. If you are getting 8 minutes presentation, introduction should not go beyond 2 minutes. So because more time should be allotted to your experimental as well as results and discussion part. Okay. So only aim of the work, method, techniques used can be presented very briefly. Time should be reserved mostly for the results and observations and as well as the conclusions. So like this, depending upon the whatever time you have allotted, you have to plan your presentation. ठीक है? Here I have written, but some few persons do not do that. Few persons like to go for extempore type of talk. But normally, if you are a new researcher, prepare a write-up of the oral presentation. Briefly, you mention that what are the things you want to convey, because we are not that much well acquainted with that particular research work. If you are a very professional type of person, this writing is not required. But if you are new little, and it's better to always to jot down the things that these are the things I want to convey during this particular lecture or the presentation of my research work. Okay. So it is good and very helpful practice to write a talk before presenting it orally. I'm not telling I'm means line by line you need not write, but precisely what are the things you want to convey, that you jot down and have it ready during your rough presentation. You can have a rough presentation in your institute or among your colleagues, so that time you should not miss those points. So you have to write certain things that is really helpful, at least in the beginning. So ask yourself these two questions. Why should the audience listen to your presentation? अगर जैसे मैं ऐसे क्लास में जब बोल रहा हूं तो आप लोग मुझे सुनेंगे क्यों? अभी आपको बिठा दिया है, तो you are forced to listen me. Okay, and you'll get credit points. So that is also one more thing. And attendance, that is important here. Those things are there. Is a lecture room, but that research conferences are different. So there you are presenting your work, but somebody, if it is really interested, they will only come for your lecture. Otherwise, if somebody is also sitting there, they will discuss among themselves maybe, or if it is a boring type of presentation, they will go out. So it may be really good, they will attend and you can have some conversation afterwards, but they will not listen to you. So first thing, why the audience should listen to you, you have to ask yourself. तो आप कैसे कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग कुछ चीजें बोलना है जिससे वो लोग इंटरेस्टेड होकर आपको सुनेंगे, ठीक है? Is the presentation match with the standard of the audience? This is also very much important, because where you are presenting the work, if it is a very scientifically or very nowadays people are having thematic conferences. So on a very small topic, there will be thematic presentation. So all the persons may be from your scientific community. Okay, so there you need not put lot of introduction. You can directly come to the your things. But if it is a general type of audience, and mostly if the students are involved, like in many universities they conduct the conferences where MSc and BSc students also participate as a audience. So in that manner, in that particular forum, you cannot start with a very high standard level. So because they will get bored, they will not understand if you will start from your level, because when you are doing PhD, your level will be much higher compared to a BSc students. Okay, so you have to first see that who is the audience and why they should listen to you. So if we are considering these two things, and your presentation will be definitely more effective. That is my opinion. So revise the presentation until you get convincing answer to the above two questions. Make sure your objective would convince the audience that you have done your work very in a well manner and the methodology is sound and the findings are useful to the audience. Then only they will listen to it properly. The success of a presentation lies in making it long enough to cover the topic and short enough to arouse the curiosity. आप जब तक बोलेंगे सामने वाला सुनना चाहिए, अगर बोर हो जाएगा तो वो दैट माइंड भी ब्लॉकेज स्टार्ट हो जाता है, सो दैट पर्सन विल नॉट लिसन टू यू. सो और आप अगर बहुत ज्यादा लंबा करेंगे तो सामने वाला बोर हो जाएगा, और अगर वेरी शॉर्ट करने की कोशिश करेंगे तो आप कन्वे नहीं कर पाएंगे, है ना. अगर आप फ्यू पर्सन्स आई हैव सुन, आई हैव अ कलीग, नाउ शी इज नॉट हियर, she was very good in work and she is very good in speaking, but her speed was super fast. I used to tell that little slower. हम लोगों को पूरा समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, क्योंकि she used to means like super fast express. So when we are from that fraternity, we understand sometimes, and sometimes also few things we also skip while listening. But other the normal audience may not be cope with that fast pace. So you should be fast and you should be also slow, so depending upon whatever is required. The oral presentation can be made very effective and attractive by using modern visual devices, PowerPoint slides, transparency sheets. Nowadays nobody uses. So in our time we used to use transparency sheets. So nowadays various tools are available, like अगर presentation कर रहे हो तो इस तरह का presentation बिल्कुल मत करना. Because this is a classroom, and after that class I have to submit to you as a lecture note. So I have prepared like this. So your slides should not look like this, huh? Because this looks very boring. Okay, your slides should be at least visually appealing. I am not telling that you put lot of animation, something is going, some cartoon is coming. No, some people get annoyed by that. In BRC, many senior person get annoyed by those things. So my boss used to tell that, Kalol, use only 3 colors for your presentation: blue, black, and red. So here I have used blue, black, and red. But I don't like that. In my scientific presentations, I use few colors, some boxes, and it should be attractive. Otherwise, how the people will get attached? They will not listen to me all the time. They will also see the slides. So slides, some figures, some charts, those things should be there. A lot of animation is not required, but it should be visually appealing. ठीक है, तो ऐसा एकदम लाइन करके आप स्लाइड मत बनाइएगा. ठीक है. Title of the report, author's name, plan of the presentations are very important content of it, and conclusions can be printed on the slides positively, point by point. And instead of writing in a text, you can put a bulleted manner. So that will be easier to see. And the font size also should be sufficiently large so that ये पता नहीं लास्ट लोगों को दिख रहा है क्या आपका मेरा फॉन्ट साइज दिख रहा है ना, तो ठीक है. अगर ऐसा फॉन्ट साइज होगा तो लास्ट ऑडियंस को नहीं देखेगा, देन ऑल्सो योर मोटो इज नॉट फुलफिल्ड. ओके, so rather than only reading out like I am doing, they may be displayed in the form of some histograms or some figures. So whenever you are presenting your research output, just don't write down all the things and go on reading the things. Here I have the privilege, because I'll tell that I am sending it as a lecture note, so it should during the exam, if I am putting all the figures, they will not understand the things. Okay, and इसमें भी figures को डालने लायक कुछ है नहीं ज़्यादा, तो मुझे लिखना पड़ रहा है. Otherwise, this is not the way to have a research presentation. Slides and transparency should not contain running matters like this. Okay, इसलिए मैंने रेड करके भी रखा है इसको. Researchers should not simply read the content of the sheet. That is, descriptive portion of the report should not be prepared in the sheets. So descriptive ज्यादा मत कीजिए, बुलेटेड फॉर्म में कीजिए, आप बोलिए उसको, आप कन्वे कीजिए, बिकॉज आपका वॉइस के साथ वो जो लिखा रहता है ना, दैट विल बी कन्वेड टू द ऑडियंस. An abstract or short write-up of the presentation may be circulated to the participants of the meeting if it is possible. In small meetings, sometimes we circulate some abstracts also. यहाँ पे बीआरसी में आप देखेंगे जब भी कुछ कोलोकियम होता है तो हमारे पास एक एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आ जाता है पहले से, तो हम थोड़ा सा उसको देख के भी जा सकते हैं कि इफ इट इज अ कन्फाइंड टाइप ऑफ मीटिंग, सो दैट सर्कुलेशन ऑफ एब्स्ट्रैक्ट इज ऑल्सो पॉसिबल. Sophisticated softwares developed for preparing tests and on transparency sheets or slides are available in internet. So nowadays many tools are available, so you can make use of those tools. In order to make presentation more lively, the researcher could use some multimedia. Some multimedia presentations are also there. Some, if you are showing your research output in a experiment, some slight small video also you can incorporate. So they will understand that, okay, this type of reaction has happened and this type of samples were collected and this type of things has happened. Okay, so it will be little more engaging. Okay, so that type of thing you have to keep it in mind. One could use audio aspects also to facilitate the presentation in the better way. While presenting the topic, researchers should strictly follow the classroom teaching methodology. Yes. One should allow interaction only if it is possible. So if you are going a 8-minute presentation, so a lot of time you cannot devote during your presentation, because after 8 minutes, 2 minutes question answer session will be there. So that time lot of interaction may not happen. But if you are going for an invited talk or a little your 45 minutes or 30 minutes type of presentation, that time you can interact with the students or the participants or the audience. Okay. And also don't forget to modulate the voice as and when it is required, and don't violate the time frame. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा voice modulation be also required. Whenever you want to emphasize, you tell that, and other things you can subtle way you can express those things. Logical continuity is another key aspect. So whenever you are presenting a work, there should be flow. If it is a very nicely flowing presentation, it will be easier to understand. So if something as disjoint will be there, so the audience will get bored in between. So there should be continuity, there should be logical continuity in between that. Okay. And move from the simple to the complex. So don't start from the very complex thing in the beginning, because afterwards, if you are telling some simple things, the audience may get bored. So start from the simple things, like little introduction, and then little bit complex things, whatever you have done during your experiment, and finally the most complicated things you can explain afterwards. Your statement should be sensible and reasonable. So don't make some complicated statements, so it will be difficult for the audience to understand them. And do not speak too fast and compromise the clarity, or speak too less and bore the audience. कोई कोई होते हैं, मैंने एक बार देखा था, एक मैडम थे, सॉरी मैडम थे सच में वो क्या होते हैं, बहुत स्लोली बोलते हैं, और पर हमको अच्छा लगता है कि जब वो क्लास लेते थे हमारे, पर वो बहुत स्लोली बोलते, एकदम स्लोली 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 बोलते थे, और हैं एकदम लोरी सुनाने के टाइम में क्या हुआ आफ्टरवर्ड्स, और एक बार ऐसा हुआ कि शी वाज टू 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 स्लो एक्चुअली. तो उसके बाद एक प्रोफेसर वहां पे बैठे, एक हमारा वर्कशॉप में वो लेक्चर दे रहे थे, तो एक बार होने के बाद वो प्रोफेसर आके बोले, वाओ योर क्लास इज सो इंटरेस्टिंग, यू आर टेलिंग 5 words per minute. Means she was feeling she's getting a compliment, but it was a really bad thing. So she was a 5 words per minute. My God. But it was not that bad, but she was very slow and she could not complete the presentation. She could only, she had brought, I think, some 60 slides for 1 hour presentation. She could complete only 15. So but she was nice, because we were liking that very slowly, very smoothly she is explaining the things, and so this type of things happens. So it should not be very boring, and it should not very fast also. Okay, sorry madam. Make the session interactive by posing some questions whenever it is possible. Like if you are going for an invited talk, during your presentation, you can engage your participants by asking some questions. मैं जैसा बीच बीच में थोड़ा सा आप लोगों को भी पूछने की कोशिश करता हूँ कि आप लोग सोए नहीं. मेरा मोटो है कि आप लोग सोए नहीं क्लास में. सोएंगे तो मुझे थोड़ा लगता है कि मैं अच्छा नहीं पढ़ाता हूँ. हाँ, नहीं नहीं नहीं, कोई बात नहीं, हम भी सोते थे. तो इसलिए इसलिए कोई ऐसी वो ऐसा खराब चीज नहीं है. आपके तरफ से बिल्कुल कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम है कि मैं आपको जगह के बिठाना चाहिए, ऐसा है. ठीक है. हाँ, क्या नाश्ता दूं? हाँ, हाँ, ठीक है, चाय बांट देंगे. नहीं नहीं नहीं, एक्चुअली दिस, सॉरी, बट मीटिंग्स के बीच में आजकल चाय डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया जाता है. सो वन ऑफ द रीजन है कि विद द टी द ऑडियंस विल बी अटेंटिव. ठीक है, आजकल काफी सारा मीटिंग्स में प्रेजेंटेशन, इसलिए मेरा भी जब स्टूडेंट का एपीआर होता है, मैं तो पहले तो चाय अरेंज कर लेता हूँ ताकि थोड़ा ऑडियंस थोड़ा सा इंटरेक्टिव रहेंगे. ठीक है, वो होता है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. So the most crucial part of the actual presentation in front of listeners is the actual presentation in front of the listeners. Stage fright is the bane for most of the presentations. Like मुझे stage में के लिए बहुत डर लगता है. तो अभी भी डरता हूँ मैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि, तो पहले तो बहुत ज्यादा डरता था. मीन्स मुझे वो कैसा होता था कि मुझे स्टेज पे आने के लिए डर लगता था. So sometimes in the beginning, what I used to do before the actual presentation, I used to come to the stage and stand here for 2 minutes so that I'll be comfortable. But for unknown places, I cannot do that. So you have to prepare yourself in the manner that your that stage fright should not be there. Okay, but sometimes it happens, so we cannot do that. So there is no shortcut to overcome the fear. One has to practice, practice and practice. बहुत practice करना पड़ता है. किसी किसी को जरूरत नहीं होता है, born natural speakers रहते हैं. मेरे जैसे लोगों को बहुत practice करके आना पड़ता है. ठीक है. So you can improve your presentation skill by getting the feedback after you spoke. ठीक है. So after that your presentation, you can ask the audience that class का ठीक ठाक था. तो आप लोग मुझे बोल सकते हैं कि कैसा था. ठीक है. So avoid repeated use of words and phrases like, well, you see, I feel, I think, those type of words, na, people may not like during your scientific presentation. So try to avoid presentation. I have a student here. Recently, she got a PhD. Not my exact student. I was in the doctoral committee. So she used to use basically. Basically, in every sentence, 2-3 times she used to use basically. Basically, I told that, beta, basically nahi hai. You have to really, it is important. It's a basically, it feels that, shows that it's a very normal type of thing. No, it's not normal. It's a important aspect of your work. It's not basically. Okay. So try to avoid those type of common phrases during your presentation. So you should also concentrate on your body language. तो आप किस तरह से प्रेजेंट कर रहे हो. कोई कोई बहुत हाथ वाथ हिलाते हैं, तो दैट इज ऑल्सो लिटिल अनोइंग. और बहुत भी अगर ऐसा ऐसा होके खड़ा होके पढ़ेंगे, so that is also annoying. Okay, so be comfortable whenever you are presenting. So the audience should feel that, yeah, you are getting connected with the audience. So you are not too stiff, you are not too that it's not a drama. It's, you are presenting your scientific work. Okay. The smooth movement of limbs and the occasional smile, मैं थोड़ा ज़्यादा हंसता हूँ शायद. And occasional smile and pleasing manners would endure all the listeners. Look relaxed and comfortable. Eye contact should be maintained. So whenever you are presenting, try to have some eye contact with the audience, so that that way the audience also feel that yes, the person is telling to you. Okay. So eye contact is different, but it's not like that. Always you listen, put eye contact and tell the thing. It's not like that. It's a means a part of things. Okay. And one more example here I'll tell. Eye contact. I told her in the beginning I was to fear a lot for this type of presentation. My first presentation in training school was my seminar presentation. So that time I was too much afraid of speaking in front of all the seniors. So a lot of committee will be there and all the seniors will be there. So I was frightened. So what I was thinking, how to complete that particular presentation. I have given 15 minutes time, 15 minutes कैसे जल्दी खत्म करके मुझे आना है. तो मैंने देख दिया और मेरे जो गाइड थे वो पीछे बैठे थे, एकदम लास्ट सीट में बैठे थे. तो मैंने क्या किया, सीधा उनको आई कांटेक्ट किया और मैंने देखा कि उनको देख के करूंगा तो मुझे थोड़ा डर कम लगेगा. सो फ्रॉम फर्स्ट लाइन, सॉरी, from the first line to last line, I was only looking at him and I was presenting. So, but with time that changes. So you will not be doing like that, I'm sure. So one or two rehearsals on that particular report in the presence of colleagues and supervisor and collaborators can be exercised in order to complete presentation within the allotted time, improve the quality of the presentation and maintain the fluency of the presentation. I told that during presentation it should be fluent and it should be that flow should be maintained. So if you are presenting your things before the actual audience to your known persons, the little practice you can have. Okay. So during a long presentation, the speaker can stop the presentation at various stages, seek comments and questions from the audience, then proceed. So बीच-बीच में अगर आप लॉन्ग प्रेजेंटेशन इनवाइटेड टॉक टाइप का दे रहे हैं तो बीच में कभी आपको थोड़ा सा लोगों को एंगेज करने के लिए थोड़ा सा पूछिए, उनका ओपिनियन लीजिए और उसके बाद बट कुछ कंट्रोवर्शियल थिंग्स में मत जाइए. So you will make the presentation attractive, interesting and also allow the audience to clarify their doubts. So बीच-बीच में पूछने से उनका सच में कुछ अगर डाउट होगा तो they can clarify in between that particular session. So your clarification should be clear and convincing. Never go to arguments. कभी-कभी presentation के time में बहुत झगड़ा भी start हो जाता है, तो try to avoid that type of things. Your confidence gets boosted if you approach the situation with a feeling that the expert panel is there to help you. Whenever you are presenting, some persons will be questioning you, so you don't be get offensive. So कभी-कभी वो experts जब बोलते हैं तो लगता है जैसा वो हमको criticize कर रहे हैं. So you don't get offended because they may not be understanding fully. You are the person who has done the work and you are presenting it. So they have their own doubts. So they don't get offended, they don't go for the argument type of things. Okay. So be polite while replying. An important point is to consider the tone to adapt so that you sound genuine. तो आपका वॉइस ऐसा थोड़ा होना चाहिए कि आप थोड़ा सा जेन्युइन लगे, आप बहुत ही ऐसा मैकेनिकल टाइप का बोलना नहीं चाहिए ड्यूरिंग योर ओरल प्रेजेंटेशंस. ठीक है. सो एक पोस्टर प्रेजेंटेशन करते हैं, उसके बाद आज छोड़ दूंगा और रिपोर्ट राइटिंग कल करेंगे. पोस्टर प्रेजेंटेशन में मैंने ज्यादा कुछ बनाया नहीं, इतना ही आज बनाया था. ठीक है. तो ओरल प्रेजेंटेशन तो हो गया, जैसे आपको पता रहेगा ना, पोस्टर प्रेजेंटेशन नाउ इज वेरी कॉमन. तो व्हेनेवर यू आर प्रेजेंटिंग योर वर्क, सो in our conference, if the 300 abstracts are we are getting, so we are getting 250 in more than 250 poster presentation and only 50 oral presentation. So chances of this poster presentations are much more, and I also feel that poster presentations are very effective for communicating your work to the audience, because whoever are interested, they will come to see your posters. So here I have written that both are important, poster preparation as well as the presentation. So here your presentation skill as well as the poster, because in oral presentation number of slides will be there and 8 minutes are there. Here you will be standing there for the whole poster session and your poster will be there. So that poster should be visually appealing. ठीक है. जैसा आपका प्रेजेंटेशंस में भी आपका स्लाइड्स अच्छा दिखना चाहिए, यहाँ पे भी पोस्टर्स आपका अच्छा दिखना चाहिए. अच्छा मतलब ऐसा रंगों भर के ऐसा नहीं, जरूरत नहीं है. It can be a grayscale also, but it can be very attractive. Okay. हाँ. But thing is that poster you can prepare before, na. So you put all your effort while preparing the poster, and poster and slides, 8 minutes presentation, lot of things you have to write. In poster, 1 meter by 1 meter area only there, so you cannot write many things. That's why I tell my juniors that in poster write only those things which you can explain during that presentation. Okay. I'm not telling that hide something. Don't hide something, but write those things which are you can easily explain. Okay. Otherwise, tell those things whatever is little confusing. You speak, because you will be speaking ड्यूरिंग योर पोस्टर प्रेजेंटेशन नॉर्मली आप लोगों को पता है ना पोस्टर प्रेजेंटेशन क्या होता है? सबको पता है? हाँ, तो फिर ठीक है। तो पोस्टर प्रेजेंटेशन में पोस्टर बनाना पड़ता है, नॉर्मली 1 by 1 मीटर का साइज का रहता है। तो उसके सामने खड़ा रहना पड़ता है, कभी एक्सपर्ट पैनल आके पूछते हैं, कभी ऑडियंस आके पूछते हैं, तो आपको उसको बताना पड़ता है। जो एक्सपर्ट पैनल जो है, क्या पोस्टर, हम बिल्कुल दिखा देंगे, दिखा देंगे। मैं सोच रहा था ये जो जगह मैंने छोड़ा था 2 पोस्टर में, सोच रहा था चिपका दूं क्या एंड में सोचा कि थोड़ा ज्यादा हो जाएगा, तो ठीक है। मैं कल एक पोस्टर एक दो जस्ट ऐसा दिखा के उसके बाद नेक्स्ट ओरल प्रेजेंटेशन दैट राइटिंग में जाएंगे, ठीक है। ठीक है, तो फिर पोस्टर्स शुड बी विजुअली अपीलिंग एंड the poster should be prepared as per the format applicable. If the conference is having some format, don't change that format, because sometimes in various conferences they have their some color themes also. For bio science, this type of green, and for mechanical they should be having a particular color. So it will look like, if you are preparing on your own thing, it will look little odd in that particular area. Also, if there is some format is available, adhere to that format while preparing the poster. And poster should be self-explanatory and clear, with clear title, author's affiliation, objective, methodology, results, conclusion, figures, tables, etc. तो आपको एक ही मीटर एरिया में आपको सारे काम को वहां पे जस्टिफाई करके दिखाना है. सो इन दैट ऑल्सो, yes, few things you can put a running item also, and like a few lines you can write in the objective running text is okay, because there somebody may be coming and reading, you may be explaining to some other person will come and see your poster. So if nothing will be written there, so they will not get the idea. So few running items are okay in posters, but all the page 1 meter by 1 year, don't write and just text. Don't do like that, it will not be visually appealing. So few things you can write in a running text, few things you put the figures which will be conveying the actual things. Don't exaggerate the things, but give it in a manner so that it will be easily understandable to the audience. Okay. So, and the font size is also quite important in the poster. Don't use very small font, or don't make very big font. Huh? So, because if I am standing in the poster, normally I will be standing in this much of distance. Okay. So, from this much of distance, the poster should be visible. Okay. So, you have to select the font size as well as the font of the letters in such a manner that it will be visible to the audience who will be standing next to the poster, because they will not come to very close. Because if it is, this is my poster, I will be standing here and I will be presenting, and some persons will be talking to me, and few other persons will be standing here, they will be seeing the poster also. So they cannot come to very close to this, so they will be little away from the poster. So from that area, they should able to see the poster and understand the things. So that font size, those things should be clearly visible. And sometimes people, what they do, they put some figures and the axes are very small, and if you are going very near also, it is sometimes difficult to see. So whatever figures are there, it should be clearly visible, including the axes and also, and some legends also. Those things you have to keep in mind. And in 2 minutes, the presenter needs to convey the salient features, including objecting and findings and conclusions from the poster. तो टाइमिंग्स कम रहता है नॉर्मली पोस्टर सेशन में, आपको जब पैनल वगैरह आते हैं. सो यू कैन, बिकॉज सो मच ऑफ 6 months वर्क यू हैव टू कन्वर्ट इन 2 minutes. ओरल प्रेजेंटेशन में आपके पास 8 मिनट था, यहाँ पे 1-2 minutes रहता है, तो आपको सिर्फ वो जो पोस्टर से ही कुछ कुछ आपको बताना है. तो आपको करना, सोचना है कि which is the most effective things I should tell the audience, so that they will be convincing that we have done this work properly using the proper methodology, and the conclusions are convincing. Okay. So those things you have to keep in mind while preparing your poster presentation. Okay. So this is all about oral presentation and poster presentation. So tomorrow class we'll be telling about the writing of reports. Okay. Thank you all. तो कैसा था क्लास? मना तो नहीं कर पाओगे?